Hey, coming up right now, finally an explanation for that viral video of a man caught driving sideways.
Not your fault. Don't adjust your screen. We will explain. Also coming up, a school bus driver proving that not all heroes wear capes after he brightens one boy's day.
All right, a little bit later on, former Oasis lead singer Liam Gallagher, that's him right there, he's slamming the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We'll tell you why.
Daily Flash starts right now.
Get ready for trending news and entertainment. This is Daily Flash with your hosts, Andrea Jackson and Mitch English. The fun starts right now. This is Daily Flash.
Hi, everyone. I'm Andrea Jackson.
I'm Mitch English, welcoming you to Daily Flash. Hi there, Andrea.
Hi, love. How are you?
You know what? Not too bad, because
Not
we got
too
a
bad.
great show set up.
We
for you
do,
today.
yes.
I liked it. I was so excited about today. I came in early, which freaks you guys out when
A
I do.
little bit,
Before
yeah.
y'all, and I didn't see Maddie's car up there. And driving, everything okay with the car?
I'm fine. The guy getting arrested at 7:15 this morning by 3 Castleberry police officers right off the bat. You're gonna have a bad weekend.
You know you will. Early in the morning. But when it comes to tickets, that'd be like the time of day I would want to get a ticket. Just to,
First thing in the morning so your neighbors wouldn't see you?
Yeah,
But this was a full car ransack, stuff all over, so they busted him for something at 7.
get something good inside.
Yeah.
Did they have the canines out? The police canines?
They had 3 of them though. They didn't have any canines yet, but
Oh, okay.
he made someone mad.
He's like a 10-year-old boy who didn't have his canines in yet. That was a dentist joke.
I see where you went there.
I went to dentistry school, and I only learned the jokes. Jackson, what do you got going on
Hey,
today?
speaking of school, do you know that there are now classes for families to take if they're going to Disney World? Because Disney's become so complicated and so expensive that all these families want to make sure that they do Disney right. So they're trying to take classes to brush up on how they need to plan their trips,
Okay.
what rides, how they schedule everything. And of course, Disney has their own app. I think it's Genie Plus.
Yes.
But that also costs you. So before you even land in Orlando, or maybe you're going to Anaheim, you're probably investing at least maybe $100, $200 in preparation for your trip.
I like that. And I'll tell you why, because if you can get the kids involved in too, it's like,
Yeah.
listen, this is what you're going to expect. It's a little pregame,
Yes.
that you can, get set up for. When you get there, this is what's going to happen. It might calm a lot of the questions, like, what are we doing now, Mom, Dad, whatever. I like this idea.
But the park opens at 7 a.m. here in Orlando. And, it's a jump start to get everybody out the door and to the park so you can take advantage of as many rides and get the most bang out of your buck.
I agree. And Disney is incredible when it comes to customer service and getting those people starting at 7 o'clock
Yeah.
and then getting them out when the show is all over too. Interesting. I'm like, well, we don't need it here so much in Orlando because we get tips, but that's
Plus you
great.
got me, so I'm a
That's
walking
true.
guide.
We have
Matt's
Matt.
a Disney expert,
He's
so
our
we could take classes from
Disney nerd.
Quite so. Proud of
When
him.
he wanted to do a princess bachelor party, I said no.
No, you drew the
we're not
line
doing
there.
it. That's
Yeah, it
it.
got weird when the Prince one started though.
We wound up looking like the old time Country Bears.
Country Bears Jamboree by the end
We
of
had
it.
our bachelor party, which we'll talk about a little bit later on in the show. We're going to show you now where you might be thinking you had a little too much fun with the Dixie Time Jamboree when you see a man, not him, this man, driving his car sideways. It was on a Pennsylvania railroad. Well, it's gone viral on social media. And the footage, it was recorded by another driver, and it shows what looks like a black car in lateral motion. The sideways driving, not meant to be a deliberate maneuver. Experts say it's the result of axle misalignment, which caused by bending the car's interior frame. It's also known as dog tracking or crab walking. And I know that the new Hummer HEV has that already built
Has
in
the
it.
crab walking setting.
So like if you need to parallel park or need to get out something like what he's doing, so you could see that happening.
Or if you need to, crawl over rocks on the beach while
You
you're
do.
driving your
You do
your
need
new
that.
Hummer.
Exactly.
At what point are you really going to use that?
None of it.
I can't
Feature.
see,
I
right.
never saw a Hummer be used off-road ever.
Never.
When they were around.
That's a good point.
I
Off-road
think Bad
means-
Boys 2 was the only time I ever saw it used like that.
Yeah, off-road, I think what that means, like accidentally parking in the grass.
Yeah.
When you don't mean to. Well, a school bus driver is being called a hero by one young passenger. 35-year-old Larry Farish went above and beyond to help one first grader after he appeared to be having a bad day. When the bus came to pick up the boy, the driver noticed the 6-year-old seemed upset. So when the driver asked him if he was okay, tears appeared and he told the driver he didn't have any pajamas, so he couldn't participate in pajama day at school. Well, Once he finished making his rounds, the driver stopped by his local Family Dollar store and bought a few pairs of PJs for the boy, dropped him off at school, and he could participate in Pajama Day.
I love this. I'm sure the guy didn't do this. A parent probably said, look what this guy did.
Yeah.
They're the first ones to, after you're giving your child to this person first before school.
Yes.
I love this. And you know, when I start hearing about like, oh, let's do GoFundMe's for somebody, you know, I chipped my tooth or whatever, I get so, these are the people that need to be, you know, be set apart and just say, you know what, I wanted to make a difference. And make sure you're doing it not for Facebook, which I don't think this guy was doing it, but what a great human. That says that there's great people out there. Liam Gallagher, he's from the former British rock group Oasis, is, well, an Oasis now when it comes to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and his nomination. The 51-year, he's 51?
Yeah, I know.
Because when I look at this picture, I'll be like, I'm older than this guy. The 51-year-old Gallagher took to social media to slam the Hall of Fame and his brother Noel, who was the group's lead guitarist and songwriter. The brothers broke up the band for good after a backstage fight, and they fought all the time. And I want that jacket, so does Joseph from the Bible. If Oasis does get inducted, Liam says that he will not attend the ceremony in Cleveland. Liam is not the only artist to publicly reject the nomination. Country music legend Dolly Parton initially dismissed her nomination, saying that she's more country than rock and roll. She later accepted the recognition in 2022, and then she released the rock and roll album called Rockstar, which I kind of think Beyonce, and which is a whole nother issue here going over to country. First off, I'm going to side note here. Country music has the most dedicated fan base, and I think when we talk about Beyonce, we'll talk about that. But as far as Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, there are bands that are well-deserved that need to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame that are not. And you have to wait till 20 years to your last number one. There's all kinds of recommendations. And then some people are saying, well, why is rap music in here? Why are these rap stars? Well, someone say, well, you know, rock and roll comes from all of that. And, well, then define what rock and roll really is, and I think maybe we'd have less controversy.
Well, I think at this point, rock and roll is just sort of a general umbrella for every single genre of music.
I think you're right.
It has to be, because in order to be recognized, maybe you call it the Hall of Fame for music. I don't know.
Music Hall of Fame, sure.
Music Hall of Fame, and that way everybody, you know, it's not as confusing and it's more, I guess, inclusive, if you will. But, I mean, for Oasis to kind of turn down the nomination, that's typical of them. They've always been like that.
Those brothers fight all the time.
Oh, constantly.
Right? I think they was on Stern all the time.
They were on Stern all the time, and then they were like 2 days away from a reunion tour about a year ago, and they broke it all off because Liam got in another fight with him, and they couldn't even have lunch together or something. They went their separate ways again.
All right. Jackson knows what my favorite food in the world is.
Pizza.
It is pizza. I grew up owning, my parents owned pizza restaurants. I felt we always had a good meal at a fair price.
Yeah.
But if you're looking for the most expensive pizza in the country, head to where? The Big Apple. That's where the most expensive pizza in the country is located. New Yorkers, get this, they're spending nearly $35 for a single one-topping pizza. That makes it the most expensive pie in the United States. That's not even with a tip. Recent survey revealed prices for pizza were rising faster than the current rate of inflation. The rising costs, pizza business, labor, third-party delivery services, higher rents, cost of ingredients. Slice shops have been switching to a more expensive flour, longer fermentation time. That also means more refrigeration, higher electric bills. I'm going back to the 90s hearing all these terms. Good news, though, despite skyrocketing prices for the za, the Big Apple continues to hold the reputation for the best pizza out of any city, ahead of competitors like Chicago and Detroit. Survey revealed that more Americans actually prefer New York-style pies to the popular Chicago deep dish pie, and everyone here knows how to eat a New York slice of pizza, right?
Yes, you fold it.
You fold it. So Jackson gets it.
You fold it.
And if you don't, you throw it on the ground and let a rat fold it and have it eat it.
You get out of New York.
You get out of New
They will
York.
pitchfork you out of there.
Most expensive item that costs for pizza places is cheese, and cheese is more expensive than you realize.
So.
Yeah. So when you say, and by the way, when you say you want extra cheese, they don't really give you extra cheese. Trust me on that one.
Can we talk about all the things that they do extra to pizza, like folding stuff into the crust and then the dipping sauce? Can we just have a regular pizza? Do we have to build in 50 different things like Taco Bell does?
I agree. I think because they want to try something that's different than the other place. But also what blows my mind is that pizza is relatively new to America. I mean, we're talking less than 60 years old. And when pizza first came, it was because they were going after like moms. Like, look, how would you like to make a one-pan dinner?
Yeah.
make pizza. And then they go, well, Mom, now you don't even have to, you can have it delivered to your house. And Domino's actually
Now,
started
back to
all that.
New York.
Yes.
Where is the original Ray's Pizza?
Isn't
That
it-
is the question
okay.
everyone asks.
And if you go to it, isn't it down? No, I'm thinking of Lombardi's. Never mind.
Yeah, Lombardi's
Lombardi's
is
is what you got to
the
check out.
best
Yeah.
Lombardi's.
No one knows because there's Ray's and original Ray's, and then there's
It's
original Ray's.
always a joke in television shows
Right.
and movies. Where is the original
If
Ray's?
you know, tell us, because we'll be back right after this quick commercial break, and we'll talk about basically love life and so much more. Stick around. Hey, welcome back to Daily Flash. I'm Mitch English. February, well, we all know it's the month of love, but don't forget to love yourself. What does that actually look like? Joining us right now to talk about that is, of course, Dr. Jeter, who is joining us now. Dr. Jeter, this is so important that we get to this point because a lot of us forget that we can't love unless we love ourselves. But what does it mean to love yourself?
That's such a great question, and thank you for having me on
Certainly.
today. Yourself means pouring back into your being spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically. It also means connecting with those around you. Sometimes we forget that community and connecting with those who love us is also self-care and self-love.
You know, and it's easy. We always hear that, just love each other and love yourself and that saying, but it's actually a little bit, some might take it harder than actually it can be. Can you share maybe some practical tips, maybe even some strategies for maybe integrating some self-care that we can put in our daily lives?
Absolutely. So I lead conversations around self-care with mothers, youth leaders, executive leaders, and I hear this question a lot. So it includes sleep, nutrition, exercise, and again, community. Last year, our U.S. Surgeon General declared a national epidemic on isolation and loneliness, which
Yeah.
we know can increase your risk for heart disease by 32%. And so incorporating these four practical tools can help us generate a form of self-love and care.
You know, we saw that during the pandemic, a huge rise in all this because people were, staying home and that sort of thing. And then, a lot of research comes out. It's like, all right, well, I need to start, having self-care. But there's some misconceptions that came along the way about self-care. Maybe like the idea that you're being indulgent in yourself or maybe even selfish. Are those common misconceptions when people think of self-care?
Absolutely, absolutely. But when you think about pouring back into yourself and being an example of self-care for those around you, how could self-care and self-love ever be selfish?
Well, it's actually, that's a very good way to look at it. And I think maybe that's the way to start off by that. I think, too, there is a condition, though, where I think, and I'd like for you to speak on it, because a lot of times we put ourselves out there, like on Facebook, and we're showing, all this, look at me, and look how much to love me, and that sort of thing. Could that sway to a different manner, maybe bringing on a different mental health crisis?
Absolutely. When you think about burnout and issues that we're seeing within our community, for example, we saw millions of people leaving their jobs from
Yeah.
exhaustion, being able to feel tired from just being overworked and having ways to not take time off. So it's important for us to think about what are we doing to pour into ourselves? How are we improving our mental health? How are we ensuring that we prevent burnout? And taking time off is another form of self-care. I think that people tend to focus it on being selfish, but it is impossible if you're loving yourself and showing others how to do the same.
I love that. Yeah, and again, as I started off with, I know you can't love anybody else until you love yourself because you're just going to project onto them. And the stats of what's going on in the world and here in the United States are extremely interesting. First off, check this out. 1 in 5 U.S. adults experiences mental health illness each year. 1 in 28 U.S. adults have experienced serious mental illness each year. And then 50% of all lifetime mental illness actually begins at the age of 14. Then 75% is at age 20. Why 14, Angelica?
When we think about the ways in which our youth are engaging the world around them, we see things around social media, we see things around a lot of isolation and lack of connection in getting outside and connecting with their friends and family. And we know that the earlier you are connected to social media, the more likely you are to suffer some forms of mental illness and mental disease, unfortunately.
There's a Justin Bieber song, and I always use this. Instead of, you know what I'm talking about? You just need to love yourself. And I hear that because there's another thing you say when you're mad at somebody. Hey, you need to go whatever. But I think that is so much more deeper, because obviously if they're doing something mean or something wrong, they're not loving themselves. And when you meet somebody that maybe you might characterize as that, how do you approach that? What do you say to them?
I think that it's important when you have someone in your life who may be experiencing some mental health issues or illness or problems in that moment, extend grace to them, offer a safe space, give them vulnerability. Because I know that when we share our own journey from a healed place, we give people the courage to do the same thing. So grace, safety, honesty, and vulnerability is essential when you see someone else going through those experiences.
I love that, and also it's kind of like a mentor too. If you could see somebody that, wow, that person just seems to have it together. Well, obviously they love themselves. Let's talk about your experience. What are some maybe the most significant benefits that maybe people can really experience when they do get that self-care? Where are we seeing a 180 in their life, or are they seeing life differently?
I absolutely love this question. The benefits are unsurmountable when we think about the level of sleep. We all need more sleep, right?
Yes.
Improving our sleep, improving our overall health, being able to connect with others in a meaningful way, being able to be more productive and having energy throughout the day. And at the end of the day, when we pour into ourselves, it's really life or death.
Yeah.
Being able to have better quality of life and longevity, who can put a price on that?
I agree. All right, people are walking out the door, they're leaving to go to their work, job, pick up the kids, whatever. What's the one piece of advice concerning all of this that you want them to have when they walk through that door?
Remember that loving yourself and having healthy boundaries is an investment for the long run.
Yeah, I love that. And you also get a great smile like Dr. Angelica, and we definitely appreciate you being on the show. And it is something very, very important. And in this world where a lot of people feel like they are alone, they are not. If they love themselves, they'll find what they need. Angelica Jeter, you can check out her information by going to her website. There it is on your screen. And if you want to improve your mental health, check it out. It's angelicajeter.com. And of course, we'll have this interview on our website as well when you head to dailyflashshow.com. More Daily Flash coming up. We're doing it with Matt Doolittle. That's coming up right around the corner. Stick around. Trending news and entertainment right here on Daily Flash.
Well, guys, we are just about 2 weeks out from my big day of getting hitched to my beautiful fiance, Leanne. And honestly, it can't come soon enough. I'm getting hitched in a couple of weeks. Can you guys believe it? After all I've been through in all the relationships, I finally found one. And this past weekend, we finally had my rite of passage with my bachelor party. I want to thank some of my lifelong buddies who came out. That includes Mr. Mitch English there, my buddies Travis Dale, Travis Storm, Jeremo, Big Dean, all came to town to help me celebrate. Now, we didn't do any of that crazy stuff you see in the movies that we would have done 10 years ago, and this would have been about 20 more people and a lot less clothes, trust me. It was a nice night out of catching up with some top golf and dinner, but some of the details are a little fuzzy, I'll be honest. But I have to say this meant more to me than it would have 10 years ago. Now, I'm older, I'm 39, I dare say, and a bit more selective with who I hang out with. I had a bunch of ne'er-do-wells running around back in the day, and some people we just lost connection. A couple of those guys in there I've known since preschool. The rest came along. Mitch and Travis I met as an intern in my first TV job some 8 years ago. It really helped me put the stuff in the perspective as, you know, all those guys are all married. They've all got kids, and I'm the last one of the bunch to make this leap. Now, it's taken me a while. It's I kind of had my own issues and stuff I had to work out, but therapy helped a lot, and this is all part of my going forward. And anyone who knows me over the years knows I sort of did what I wanted. I took off where I wanted to, I lived where I wanted to, I jumped around to a few new professions because I could. But now I've decided it's time to finally settle down.
Simmer down.
At this time it's coming up on my wedding, I finally have a sense of settling down, getting my roots, starting to figure out the whole life thing at almost 40, you know, to each their own. And the bachelor parties usually end up like they do in the movies with someone loses a shoe, you lose them overall, you have to throw some people in cabs to head home early, but everyone leaves smelling like Dillards and covered in glitter usually, but that's not what we did. This was exactly what I wanted to do with my boys from all over the world, so I want to thank you guys and everybody else that's coming to the wedding. Let's get ready for party part 3, because let's see, I'll have what, 3 total bachelor parties going
Yeah.
on here, Mitch? Between
Yes.
Vegas, this one, and then we're going to see Billy Joel this weekend. So
Absolutely. Very excited for all 3 of them too, which is great. And no one got arrested, which is, I think is an accomplishment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
no one died, no one got arrested. So again, thanks guys, and we did it for my bachelor party.
There you go. Well, congratulations, Matt. Yeah, we're all looking forward to all of that. And you know, out of everything, it was cool just to chill. You know, guys, you know,
Yeah.
usually you're sitting watching a football game and chill, but this was nice being out and chilling. So
Yes, you guys did the Top Golf. You went to dinner. Very adult of you. It's a very mature.
You know, it was. And it was a weird feeling altogether, knowing that, you know, we could do whatever we want. We had day passes from our wives.
Yeah.
We're just going to hang out. Why not? It was cold and rainy, so there you go.
It was a little eye-opening to hear Matt say he interned with us 20 years ago.
I know. That's so weird. He came to us as a bright-eyed little,
At
fresh out of
Disney, I
college.
remember that.
It was insane.
Yeah.
So
You guys
glad
broke
to
me.
have you. We broke
We
you.
broke him. My goodness. Well, he's made it out okay.
Indeed.
We've got some entertainment news for you now. Victoria Beckham, aka our favorite Posh Spice, says she is not ready to be a grandmother just yet. During a recent interview with Vogue magazine, the 49-year-old was surprised by the question, was she ready to be a nana? Well, she said she's looking forward to it, but doesn't see herself in that role just yet. Victoria and her hubby, David Beckham, have been married for 24 years.
Wow.
They have 4 children, Brooklyn, 24, Romeo, 21, Cruz, 18, and Harper, 12. Their son, Brooklyn, recently married Nicola Peltz, a model and actress from a wealthy Palm Beach family. Victoria once asked Vogue bigwig Anna Wintour how she deals with being a grandmother and what her grandkids call her. Anna told Victoria she enjoys it, but they don't call her grandma, just Anna.
Just Anna.
Which I think a lot of ladies are sort of like, don't call me grandma. That's just call me my first name. Or
They have
a nickname.
Yeah, a nickname is the biggest. Grandma seems to be the most offensive, I guess, somewhat. I can understand where she's at, and I think she's got the right attitude. Like right now, no, I don't want to be a grandma, but there is going to be a time. I'm dying to be a grandfather. And what's so crazy about my kids, I tell them, is like, look, you have a permanent babysitter. You guys can go do stuff, whatever. Just drop the baby. I'm ready for it.
Yeah.
I'm like looking forward to it. Nowhere in the scope of me ever being a grandfather anytime soon. But one day, I'm crossing my fingers.
You mentioned Billy Joel.
Yep.
Legendary piano man Billy Joel has been de-aged by AI in his latest music video. It's his first single in nearly 2 decades.
Oh, check it
He
out.
posted the music video, which features the 74-year-old rocker star flipping through the pages of the lyrics for Famous Last Words, released back in 1993. Then it cycles through a number of moments in his life and career while performing inside of a really cool concert venue. As the camera moves up, the singer's seen as a much younger version of himself, as you can see there. Joel is then aged a few more years before he starts the chorus for his new song, Turn the Lights Back On. Now, he recently performed the song during this year's Grammy Awards, the first time he took the awards stage to sing in more than 20 years.
Wow.
And during the show's red carpet event, he told an interviewer he had lost interest in songwriting over the years and recently found new inspiration from the producers of his new song. We can keep playing this video if we can so you can see some of the aging process.
It's neat that he's embracing
Yeah.
that too. And he also says, $1 billion if you want my audio library of all his music.
Really?
He'll
$1 billion?
consider it for $1 billion.
Wow, well, good for him.
Good for him. He's
Yeah.
lost money twice in his life, went bankrupt. More Flash after.
This is Daily Flash with your hosts, Andrea Jackson and Mitch English. Trending news and entertainment. This is Daily Flash.
Hi, everybody. Mitch English hanging out with you.
Hey, Mitchie, I'm Andrea Jackson. This is Daily Flash, your source for trending news and entertainment. Matt Doolittle also joining us.
We'll check in with him in just a few. And big birthdays this month. Guess who's turning 20 years old? Which I can't believe, because I remember when you and I actually signed up for this. Facebook is 20 years old.
really?
Yes. Remember that was like a big deal? And,
Yes.
and we're like, well, we need to get on this this website, is what we called it back then. 20 years old this year, February 24th. They have 68,000 full-time employees, Facebook does, just to give you an idea what's going on.
Wow.
This blew my mind. This is how many images they've uploaded. You want to take a guess since the beginning of time? Since the beginning of Facebook.
20 billion.
20 billion, say you?
I'll go 100 billion.
275 billion
Wow.
images uploaded, and 3/4 of those are Matt taking pictures before the show. I did not even realize that. You could
That
follow-
and my cat. Pretty much.
and your cat.
That and
right.
my cat.
Well, you got a cute cat, so I can see that. All right.
Well, happy birthday,
Happy birthday, Facebook.
Okay, thanks for making me feel a lot older.
I remember us signing up for it,
I
like,
do
well,
too.
we got to do this.
And I was
'cause-
like, I don't want to
all
be a
right,
part of this whole thing.
It's not going to go anywhere, but all right.
Thanks for letting us all know which relatives are racist.
Thank you, Facebook, for 20 years of that. That's funny.
Exactly. Well, check this out. A video of a man appearing to drive his car sideways on a Pennsylvania roadway has gone viral on social media. The footage, which was recorded by another driver, shows what looks like a black car in lateral motion. The sideways driving, not meant to be a deliberate maneuver. Experts say it's the result of axle misalignment caused by bending of the car's interior frame. It's also known as dog tracking or crab walking. Axle misalignment sounds like a name for a rock band.
Yeah, it does. I like it. That's our band name. I love that. And, now they're making cars that can do that sort of thing. Matt and I, we went out to his bachelor party this weekend. Apparently, it was a big car show. And there's these cars, and maybe somebody can explain this to me, but the tires are like bent out.
Oh, yeah. So they flare out,
They
right?
flare out, but only about this much of, right, Matt?
Yeah, and-
Only like this much of the tire is actually touching
And
the
if you
ground.
hit a pebble on the ground, it's going to throw your alignment. I mean, this thing was that far off the ground. It was horrible.
Yeah, I don't know how they drive around with it. I don't know what it does. All the other guys were saying it's hard to take corners with
Yeah.
it like that. I don't know. I guess is it a cosmetic thing? I don't know.
And what about rain? I would
was
imagine
pouring
that,
when we were
It
driving.
was pouring when we did it. That's why we were like, they got to be everywhere, and they were like.
Yes.
So, I don't know. Well, people do that with their cars. Bus drivers, they have to always drive safe, and they also have to look out for those that they're hauling around. Well, now one school bus driver is being called a hero by at least one young passenger. 35-year-old Larry Ferris, he's our hero today. He went above and beyond to help a first grader after he appeared to look like he was having a bad day. That's him right there. When the bus came to pick up the boy, the driver noticed the 6-year-old a little upset, and so, hey man, what's going on? So he starts crying, and he told the school bus driver, I don't have any pajamas, so he couldn't participate in pajama day. Well, he finished his round. He goes by the local Family Dollar store, bought a few pairs of PJs for the boy, gives it to him, and now he can, this is just heartwarming to be able to do this. There's great people in this world that want to do something, and all you got to do is do it.
Yes.
And I think this is somebody that actually went above and beyond. I love this.
And you think about the responsibility bus drivers have. I mean, sometimes I think people think it's a throwaway job. It is anything but, because those bus drivers are usually more in tune with your kid
No, they are.
than some parents are. So the fact that he was able to kind of sense something was off, talk to him, and the kid trusted him enough to tell him what was going on.
Which
mean-
says that there's obviously some kind of relationship there that
Yeah.
he felt like he could trust him.
Exactly. So it's a terrific, heartwarming story.
When I was in Long Beach High School in Long Beach, Mississippi, students, if you were 18, you were allowed to drive the school bus. I had no idea. I get it. This is a true story. I get on the school bus and I see this dude who looked just like Otto from Simpsons, and he's behind the wheel. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? I'm a school bus driver, man. Hand to God. I don't know if they still do it or not, but it's awesome. More flash and more fun coming up. We're driving the bus after this.
This is Tim. Tim is all about time. And if you've ever had a chance to look into Tim's cold, dead eyes, you'll see that it's time for you to follow us on social media. Sure, there's 10,000 social sites out there, and we don't have the time to name them all. Seriously, just ask Tim. So take the time to look for Daily Flash TV on your favorite social sites and start following us. That's all the time, Tim. Goodbye.
In this week's Help My Home, we call on our favorite home improvement guy, Gator.
Hey, this is Gator with a few easy hacks to help you help your home. If you got screens on your windows, they're ripped or coming apart, or you need to replace them, or you got a screened-in porch or some screen doors, I'm going to show you how you can easily do this yourself, okay? You need to go to your hardware store and get a roll of screen. They come in all different sizes and all different lengths. You need to get a roll of spline, which is like this black rubber type material. Sometimes you can use the old one that comes out of your screen, but it's easier to get some new ones. And this little spline tool, and all of these things can be bought for pretty relatively cheap at the same spot at your hardware store. Now what you want to do is cut a piece of your screen that's a little bit bigger than the actual frame of the screen, okay, and just lay it on there like that. Then you take your spline. I'm using the old piece that came out of here because there was nothing wrong with it. Then you take your spline tool, and what you want to do is there's a little groove around here, and you take this rubber spline and you just kind of lay it right here at the beginning where it starts, and you use this little tool and you actually push it in the groove. One side's kind of a little easier to use than the other side, and you just push this in just like this. And as you see, it goes in that little groove, and it'll tighten that screen up. Then you just turn like this and just keep going all the way around. Now, when you get done, you'll have something that looks like this. You just take your razor knife and cut your excess screen off, and you've got a nice tight screen, and it didn't cost you very much. You can do a whole bunch of screens when you get one of these rolls. And if you have one that's broke, they sell these pieces and these corners at your hardware store, and you can rebuild this whole thing. All right, then, replace your screens. Next. If you've got solar lights around your house, which a lot of people do, could be like this, could be like this, but they have these solar screens and they get this stuff on them. The sun causes that, and then it gets the screen covered up and they don't get as much sun, they don't work as good. This is hard to clean. I've tried all different kind of things, so I found something that works, so I thought I'd share it with you guys. And basically it's off bug spray. Yeah, I know. Looks like that. You just spray it right on the screen just like this. It will eat that stuff away that's on there from that sun. You just get a little rag, wipe it down. It'll have that screen looking like brand new, and then it's going to get plenty of light. And even on something like this older style that's got this screen, I mean, that thing is pretty beat up. The light hardly even works because it doesn't get sun. You spray this off right on there, just like that. Let it sit for a second. Wipe it right off. And it cleans that screen back to where it's supposed to be. You could even use a little more on there, and then it's going to charge, and then your light's going to work like it should. This stuff's hard to get off. That's all you got to do. Off bug spray. All right, then. Next. So when you're doing home repair things around your house, you know, you don't always have the right tool, which is why I make a lot of these videos. If you've ever need to strip a piece of wire, you might not have a wire stripper, you're looking for a knife or whatever. I'm going to show you something that's pretty cool that a lot of people might not even know about. But you take some fingernail clippers, most people will have these, and you take this top piece and flip it over, and you can actually squeeze this together. And this will actually come off of here, and then you can remove this little rod out the center, okay? And then what happens is you're left over with a pair of cutters and strippers, and you can use these for a lot of different things. But you can take a piece of wire, this is the normal size wire you would find on your outlet or plug, and you can put it on there and just kind of spin it a little bit, and it will strip that wire back like it's nothing. It works great for little wire too. You can take this little wire, and not only will it strip this stuff, but it'll also cut this stuff. Just like that. You can cut right through it, or you can strip it, whichever you want to do. This thing will work good for a lot of different things. You'd be surprised what you use this for. Just take it apart. You never know when you might need it. All right, then. Y'all have a good day. Next! Carry your groceries with a pool noodle. Cut one about 4 or 5 inches long. Most of you guys can eyeball that. Put a slit down the middle. Place your bags inside the pool noodle, just like this. You can carry a bunch of them like this as well, just like that. Now you can carry your grocery bags with ease. Next. Be sure to catch my home hacks and more right here on the Daily Flash.
Stay with us. More Daily Flash right after this.
Hey, welcome back to Daily Flash. About to stir some things up, all thanks to a CEO who actually banned office relationships at her company. Her name is Denise Conroy. She once worked at HGTV as Chief Marketing Officer, and she says, never get your sex where you get your checks. Is she right? Check this out. According to a recent Forbes survey, workplace romance has actually increased the fear of breaking up by 17%. And more than 50% said a workplace romance impacted their sense of individuality. 52% of people reported their coworkers treated them a little bit differently. And that's, of course, all thanks to Forbes. So we're asking you, what do you think? Should office romances be banned altogether, meaning just a blanket policy, not going to happen? We'll start off with you, Jackson.
Well, I can't be for the ban because I met Alan, my other half, at work. We worked together. So, but what I think is important is you've got to be as discreet as possible, because A, you don't want other people in your business, and B, if you do end up going your separate ways, you don't want everybody to be a part of the breakup.
Yeah, it's a very good point because of the fact that you have to look out what's beyond that and then how uncomfortable it's going to be afterwards. Matt, I think you dated somebody you worked with one time. I hope I'm not throwing you out there, but how did that work out, my man?
Absolute disaster. You know, when you work in this business, especially, you have weird hours. When we were working together, we were going to work at 3 a.m. So I didn't have a social life, so it was more of a convenience thing. And then it turns into rumors going around, and you can't trust the people you're telling stuff to keep it, to themselves. It just turned into a mess. And when I worked at Disney, the policy there was that if you worked in one part of the park, your other half had to work on the other side completely from the property. So they didn't even allow that.
And I was going to lead into that saying I could see where it would be all right if you're totally different departments, you don't really have any interaction whatsoever, but it is only going to cause issues because first off, no one likes seeing PDA sometimes, and you're going to want to do that initially at the beginning. But also when you think of nepotism sometimes, if it is a authority figure that actually might be dating somebody, there's got to be issues there. So I can understand why they go, all right, blanket policy whatsoever. And then also companies, some say, first thing you have to do is tell HR. And now HR has to be involved.
Well, I think you hit something very important there. If you are in a manager role, you cannot be dating somebody who is in a subservient role. Because if that's the case, then obviously if there's trouble, if there are complaints, there's always going to be favoritism, right?
Yeah.
And so it can't be that way. If you're equal coworkers, it makes sense. But if it's a power difference, then it should be banned altogether.
I would imagine, guys, or at least for me, if I had to describe me, you have a tendency to want to compartmentalize your life.
Sure.
And it seems like you have work is work. I act different at work than I do at home. Maybe not a whole lot, but there is a difference between the two. And there's also things where I can come home because I'm talking to somebody that is unbiased, doesn't know what's going on, and I appreciate that sort of thing. So there's benefits of not doing it, but I can also see at the same time there are some couples that work well together that can make it work.
Because the challenge is you're spending 8 hours a day with someone. And in my case, Alan was the photographer. We were in, the news vehicle spending 8 hours a day. So you get to know someone via conversation and chit chat. So, things are bound to happen. Now, not all the time, but that's the deal.
Flash at dailyflashshow.com is our email. Tell us what you think.
Well, we recently caught up with CPA Lisa Green Lewis with TurboTax. She's got some great advice to help you file your taxes this year and what you need to know if you're using the child tax credit.
Recent buzz around the child tax credit expanding following recent House approval has parents questioning whether or not they should hold off on filing. But experts and the IRS are urging people to file regardless of what happens.
The IRS commissioner reassured everyone that should the child tax credit expand, that they would make adjustments on their end and there wouldn't be anything that tax filers need to do, to adjust their return.
Green Lewis says there are some other credits you may be eligible for, so don't delay filing.
The faster you file, the closer you'll be to your refund, and you'll be able to get those other credits that you're eligible for as well, like the Child and Dependent Care Credit, which is up to $2,100 if you have 2 kids, or the Earned Income Tax Credit, which for a family with 3 kids, it's $7,430.
In order to claim the tax credit, just make sure you meet the requirements. With a good chunk of credit at stake, Green Lewis says to enlist an expert such as TurboTax to help to make sure you receive the maximum refund you're eligible for.
TurboTax is up to date. In addition to that, if you want to do your taxes yourself, we guide you through claiming the child tax credit. But we also have our TurboTax Live experts, and they can help you along the way. They can review your return before you file, or you can fully hand your taxes over to them and they can do your taxes from start to finish. And then we also have our local independent tax pros that you can meet in person and they can also do your taxes.
For more info about the tax credit and to start filing now, head to turbotax.com.
Hey, we got some great advice if you're dealing with cold and flu symptoms. Here's more.
Don't let a cold knock out the whole family this winter.
It can be difficult to keep germs at bay when someone in the house is sick. I recommend implementing a shoe-free zone. It minimizes the introduction of external pathogens onto clean surfaces. However, sometimes even with our best efforts, the battle rages on. That's where Delsym comes in. Delsym's formula provides 12 hours of long-lasting relief from coughs, letting you rest and recover.
For more information, visit Delsym.com.
Up next, a celebrity nail stylist is showing us one of the hottest spring nail trends, and it's something so easy you can do it in your own home.
Hi, and thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to share with you brand new from Kiss, the Salon Extend LED Soft Gel System. It's so easy now to bring the salon home and update your manicure in minutes. It's the first of its kind for long-lasting salon quality gel nail extensions right at home. These are pre-sculpted, they're pre-polished with the exclusively formulated Kiss Soft Gel adhesive for a weightless, bubble-free, natural nail finish that lasts up to 14 days. The removal is totally mess-free. They come in 18 pre-polished styles, and they are available in different designs, different colors, and different lengths and shape as well. Some major trends that we're seeing are natural tones, a sheer beige, a soft pink, the floral daisy design, which is what I'm currently wearing right now, along with the French tip. I like to mix it up. And also the jelly nails. A pastel is big along with the jelly, so you have two trends in one. And of course, a long squoval for a shape and a little glitter ombre tip as well. For more information, you can go to kissusa.com, and these are available in retailers Ulta, Target, CVS, and Walmart.
Hey, we want you to join us on social media. Just look for dailyflash.tv on all of them. We're there. Matter of fact, easy way to go there, just go to our website, dailyflashshow.com. Hey, before we head into the weekend, we always like to give you our picks for streaming for the weekend. This is where we got to tell you something you have to check out on your streaming services. Jackson, kick it off.
Okay, documentary, HBO Max. It's called They Called Him Mostly Harmless.
Call your county 911. What is your emergency?
We just found a dead body.
There was nothing there with a name on it, no wallet, no credit cards, no photo ID. We don't really know who he is. How difficult is this going to be?
This looks really cool.
Okay, I just found it accidentally, but it was about a hiker that they found here in Florida, and he had no identification on him. So it's this crazy journey to find out who the guy really is.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, it's so good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Well, my pick this week is the guys from the Grand Tour with their new series on Amazon Prime with Sand Job.
James, do you think this is going to work?
James May. What? Do you think this is going to work? What?
He's so old.
I wish that I knew what I know now.
Dunes!
When I was younger.
Yep, the infamous trio of Clarkson, May, and these guys just get in all kinds of trouble and stuff, and now they got to take like little Supra cars and go across the desert and try to not. I mean, a lot of it's set up, but it's been such a fun watch these guys. They don't know how many.
They're crowd favorites because they tried to change the hosts and people couldn't watch it.
Well, they got kicked off Top Gear. And
Top Gear, that's what it is. All right, really cool stuff there. All right, listen, I'm all about the documentaries, and just when you think you have this one figured out, a left field twist comes in. It's the Netflix doc Lover, Stalker, Killer.
No matter how well you hit it off with somebody on a dating site, you don't really know who they are.
This was one of the strangest, most unpredictable cases I'd ever worked in.
Prosecutors allege a love triangle turned fatal.
I was starting over as a single person, and I was determined to enjoy it. That's when Cherry Farber came into my life.
The only thing I could say about this is pay attention, watch the first part of it. I'm telling you, there is so many tangles. You know when they put that wall with the strings everywhere?
Yeah.
This is one of those shows. You got to check it out.
Times three.
Times three. It's really, really cool. That does it for our show. Thank you for spending time with us.
Be good, everybody. For more information, head to our website, dailyflashshow.com.
Peace and love.
Peace and love.
I'm telling you, if it wasn't for